This one got a lot of people scared or up in arms. The IRS laying off a lot of people, like 15, 16,000, amid Trump's federal workforce reduction and how it could delay 2025 tax refund. So let's dive into it. Now, before we dive into it, this is what y'all got to remember before you get too emotional about it, is that in the recent year or so, the IRS hired like 20,000 people. That is what many people should have been questioning. Like, hold on, why they need so many people in the IRS, working for the IRS? So all they're doing is reversing some of that. And really, it's not even the amount of people that they hired. If I'm not mistaken, and somebody can correct me in the comments, they hired about 20,000 people, give or take, in the past year or so. Well, they're releasing 16,000. So they still up 4,000 people, which means that tax refunds don't have to be delayed because they still got the amount of people they had last year or the years before when they were filing millions of tax returns, plus about 4,000, give or take. So before you get too emotional, just keep that in mind. It was a recent increase in hires, so now they just made a decrease because they really probably don't need that much in order to be efficient. All right, let's dive in. So the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, began accepting 2024 income tax returns on the 27th of January. Taxpayers have until 15th of April to file their 2024 returns via mail, online, or with the help of a tax preparer. And if you need help with a tax preparer, it's a link in the comments. Highly recommend a group of experts, no matter your tax situation, that can really help you and without charging you or overcharging you fees and helping you legally maximize your refund. Keyword legally. Link in the description. Many taxpayers depend on tax refunds to make ends meet, and they attribute the financial situation to high inflation, depleted savings, or mounting debt. It is estimated that on average, 3 out of 4 tax filers can expect to receive a refund from the IRS. So that's 75% of the people who can expect to get a refund. So I get why you might be terrified of not getting one or it being delayed. The speed of tax refunds depends on several factors like mode of filing, information accuracy, and the processing time of the taxpayer's bank to make the funds available to the account holder. So mode of filing is, are you doing paper? Are you doing electronic? Of course, electronic is going to be faster. Information accuracy is self-explanatory, but making sure your information being input is correct on all levels. And that means even the account that you're going to get the money deposited into, if you're doing direct deposit, which is also faster. And then of course the processing time of the bank. So sometimes the banks are causing the delays, and it might look like it was something else, but no, it might be the banks because of their method of processing. That being said, let's keep going. If you file taxes electronically and select direct deposit option, the IRS states that the tax refunds are generally credited within 21 days from the date of filing. Pretty much what I just stated. However, the tax refunds for paper returns could take as long as 8 weeks from the date of the IRS receiving the forms. Remember that you can also receive tax refunds in multiple ways, including a paper check from the IRS or have them deposited in a traditional or Roth individual retirement account. So you don't even have to get it put into a bank. You can get it put directly into an investment account, which many people don't talk about, but it could be very strategic because now you never really went through the money. You actually put it in an account that allowed you to fund it and put it in an area that allows it to multiply. I highly recommend checking out one of my videos previously where I said, hey, don't blow it, when it was talking about don't blow your tax return, and it gave some breakdowns on if a person received $5,000, what they can do with it to magnify that $5,000 and be strategic. It's loaded. I love it. And I believe it's going to give a lot of people value, especially if they apply. So how to check income tax refund status. Of course, a lot of people know about the Where's My Refund, but let's break it down just in case you don't. So the IRS has developed a simple tool called the Where's My Refund on the IRS website for taxpayers to track their refund status by entering basic details like SSN or ITIN to appropriate tax year and filing status, or to the appropriate tax year and filing status, and the exact whole dollar refund amount on the return. So if you put in your personal information, they'll let you know when you're likely to get your refund based on the information that you put in there. This way, filers can see if their refunds are processed, approved, or dispersed to their bank accounts. The IRS stated that it could take at least 24 hours after e-filing or 4 weeks in case of paper return before a refund status shows up in the tracking tool. So basically, if you filed more than 24 hours ago, you should be able to use the tool. If it's been less than 24 hours, then hold off, hang tight, hold your britches. Could Trump-led layoffs delay IRS tax refund? Now, this is the real question. They want to know if this is going to delay tax refund. I told you my perspective earlier. But let's see what this article has to say. As Elon Musk Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, works to meet its annual federal spending reduction goal of 1.58 trillion, which is a lot, by the way. Like, imagine them finding over $1.5 trillion that was misappropriated and going to areas that they shouldn't have been going. That's a whole nother conversation. Now, I do question certain things about it, so I'm not here to say that I'm just, on the train of feeling like they can do no wrong. No, everybody has their agendas. Everybody has their motives, so I think everybody should be in question. However, the things that they've said that they've discovered in misappropriated funds and people getting paid and people not even living. It was one chart I saw, and I'm getting away from it a little bit, but it was one chart I saw that I think is important for you to know that stated how it was so many people still getting paid, and it had like hundreds of people who might have been 158 years old, 160 years old, 170. Some even, a few of them was 200, 300 years old. Now, this is not true. Otherwise, they would have been in the damn Guinness Book of World Records and hold their high regards for making it to the age of 158. But people are still getting paid under these ages, which lets you know that it's funds being leaked that shouldn't be. And it's a ton of other places where money was going. So them digging deep and pulling that curtain back and saying, hold on, these funds are being misappropriated, that's messing with the taxpayer dollars. That's a big deal. I even did a video where it talked about, they're considering sending taxpayers checks based on the savings that they create, which I think won't be a bad idea. But the goal is 1.58 trillion. By downsizing U.S. agencies, President Donald Trump has reportedly ordered the termination of close to 16,000 recently hired. Like I said, recently hired, because a certain amount of them had just got hired. I believe it was 20,000. So that's not everybody. So while everybody's scared, look, they just got hired, and they probably didn't need that many people anyway. They were probably just another way for them to do something else. So I'll just say that. But recently hired IRS employees in the next few days. The IRS workforce grew almost 100,000 under President Joe Biden. Based on these numbers, over 15% of the workforce could lose their job. So 15% of 100,000 is 15,000 people. Okay, well, if they hire 20,000, then it's still a certain amount of people who are still there, which means that they still got more than enough people to get the job done. That's just me. The IRS employees facing termination included lower level positions like taxpayer response, junior audit roles, and phone centers. Now, is it really a need for that in the world of all of this technology and capability? You be the judge of that. You let me know what you think in the comments. So recently, the U.S. Office of Personnel Management officials ordered all agencies to dismiss nearly all probationary employees who have yet to gain civil service employment protection. So they're still under a probation period. These are recently hired people that probably didn't add any value to the IRS. It's just a different agenda that they had. So keep that in mind. If these IRS job cuts are implemented, they will happen right in the middle of tax season, and it remains unclear to what extent these layoffs will squeeze resources or impact the average tax refund processing time. Another source said these layoffs will be made regardless of how they affect the agency's operation. So it remains unclear. So many people jump to a conclusion, and a lot of times they jump to a negative conclusion versus seeing on the bright side or seeing the glass is half full, seeing how this could be beneficial versus being detrimental. And a lot of people are on that train. I just don't have that makeup. I'm in the field of, or in the mindset of, seeing things, or seeing the bright side, seeing the silver lining, seeing the glass is half full. What is beneficial about this? And with it being recent hires still in their probationary period, and it wasn't even all of the ones that they hired, this ain't that big of a deal. So it's unclear. So instead of jumping to the conclusion of, oh, it's gonna slow things down and selling that fear, which that ain't what I'm on, consider that they've been operating without these extra 20,000 people. And of those 20,000 people, if that number is correct, 15,000 gone. So that means they still left with thousands of new employees. So I think they would be all right. So you let me know what you think in the comments. I just wanted to share this because so many people are like, well, they just fired 15,000 people and Trump and the administration doing this. Listen, take a step back and look at the high level viewpoint of it. Could this be beneficial? Do you want a whole lot of IRS employees that's thumbing through and looking at every single detail of what's going on with taxpayers' dollars? Did they recently hire these people? If so, okay, what did they hire them for? And if you look deep into that, that's a whole nother conversation. And looking at the fact that, okay, not everybody got fired, so they still have adequate amount of people. And based on the amount of people who filed last year and the year before that, do they have enough people to get the job done? I think so. So I think people are overreacting in their area. So I had to share this article. You let me know what you think below. Mr. Smith, signing out. Salute.